Hey kids, so today we are going over section 10.3, arcs and chords. Real quick, just to review, an arc is just a part of our circumference, like, oops, I didn't want that. Like this guy, that'd be arc AC. And a chord is just a segment that has both of its endpoints on the circumference of your circle. So both of its endpoints just need to be on your circle. That's what makes it a chord. So like a diameter would be a chord because both of its endpoints are on the edge of your circle, whereas a radius would not be a chord because, do you guys notice how my endpoints are not both on the edges of the circle? Fun times. Okay. Well, we're going to learn some properties about these things, and then we will be able to find their measures. So let's look at this picture here. So it says congruent arcs and chords. Two chords are congruent if and only if their corresponding arcs are congruent. So what that means is AB, this is a chord, and CD would be congruent if we knew that arc AB is the same as arc CD. So that's what that means right there. Or it could go the other way. If we know that the chords are equal, so if I know AB is equal to CD, then I would know that my arcs would also be the same. Okay? So if they look congruent, they probably are. That's kind of what you can think to yourself. They are equidistant from the center. So if I know that FE is congruent to EG, then I would know that AB is congruent to CD. Or vice versa. If I know my two chords are congruent, so if I just had this picture, I knew they were congruent, then I would know FE is equal to EG. Okay? And then our last little chunk here says, if a diameter or radius is perpendicular to a chord, then it bisects the chord and its arc. So I know that all those symbols down there kind of confuse us, but what they're saying is if I know EG is perpendicular to my chord CD here, again, how would I know that? Well, we should all know by now that this right angle means perpendicular. Well, that means it's cutting CD in half, so CG is congruent to DG, and it would also cut our big arc in half, so then I would know CI is congruent to DI. I think these will make more sense if they're not really clicking right now once you use some examples, because numbers make our life much easier than letters do, but we just have some properties that we had to go over. So again, when in doubt, if they look congruent, they probably are. So it says find the value of x. So we should notice that chord SR is congruent to chord ST. And how do I know that, if you're wondering? Well, I have one tick mark and one tick mark, which means my chords are equal. And if I have congruent chords, that means these arcs are equal. So if I want to find x, I'm going to put 7x plus 24 equal to 115. And now we have just a very simple Algebra 1 problem. Subtract over my 24, and get 7x equal to 91. Divide out by 7. We'll find that x equals 13. Then we're done. Now can we go the other way? So now this time let's look at our given information. I'm given that arc LM is congruent to arc JK. How do I know that? Again, tick mark, they're telling me those arcs are equal. And if I have congruent arcs, then my two chords are congruent. So again, I can just put 18x minus 2 equal to 52. And we have a pretty simple problem. So I can add my 2 over, divide out, we get x equal to 3. If we haven't learned this already, this means circle G. So it says in circle G, measure of arc DEF equals 150. Find the measure of arc MDE. So we know that DEF is 150. And we should notice that this is perpendicular, so it's splitting my arc in half. So now I know that this half is equal to this half. So if we want to find arc DE, what color haven't I used over here? If I want to find what this guy is, I'm just going to split my 150 in two. We're going to get 75. Again, does it look like those two arcs would be equal? I'm thinking so. So it makes sense that we just divide by 2. In circle P, EF is equal to GH, which is equal to 24. Find PQ. So they are telling us that this whole chord is congruent to GH. Remember, if we have congruent chords, that means that these little segments that connect them to the center are congruent. So now we can easily find out what PQ is by setting PR equal to PQ. So I can write 4x minus 3 is equal to 2x plus 3. 2x equal to 6, x equals 3. Okay, again, make sure we answer the question. PQ is this guy, so plug in 12 minus 3, 9. And our last example for today. In circle P, JK equals 10, measure of arc JLK equals 134. Find the measure of arc JL and PQ. So we got two things we got to figure out. So let's first label what we're given because that will make our life much easier. So if JK, this whole thing is 10, remember my little segment that connects it to the center cuts it in half. So that means this guy is 5 and this guy is 5. And then we were also given that JLK, so this arcy arc right here is 134. Beautiful. All right, so let's start the easy one. Find the measure of J arc JL. So I'm looking at my picture. Here's arc JL. But we should know now that my big blue arc is getting cut in half right there. So to find the measure of arc JL, we just divide 134 by 2. And we should get 67 degrees. Now PQ is a little more interesting to figure out, but it's kind of fun. So our end goal is to figure out what this little guy is. Well, I don't know what to do. It's kind of confusing. Just going to erase this a little bit. Okay. So we're randomly given that PM is 6. Well, what kind of a segment is PM? I hope you're thinking it's a radius, because it is. And remember, I can draw a radius anywhere. So that would be 6. Down here would be 6. This would be 6, because my radius is the same no matter where I draw it, right? Well, I'm going to draw it in a convenient spot so it helps me solve this problem. What if I drew it so it connected P to K? Well, I know that is 6. And I know that QK is 5. And now if we look, guys, what kind of a triangle do I have here? It's a right triangle, right? So now I can easily perform the Pythagorean theorem to figure out what PQ is. Do this in our sleep, right? X squared plus 5 squared equals 6 squared. X squared plus 25 equals 36. Subtract it over. So x equals the square root of 11, which is approximately 3.3. There we go. So we just found what our PQ was. 3.3. PQ. Oh, my board. Okay, good work, team. Please be good for the sub. Stay on task. I know it's a Friday, but be good. Do your homework. If you finish early, find something quietly to do at your desk. Just please don't be obnoxious, okay? Here's your Tereha. Have a good weekend. Be united with the tradition. Onward Central. Bye.